I'm recording an album of covers of songs by women.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think maybe men haven't given those songs a shot. And I'm calling it Cover Up. And I'm going to have a hijab made.
Are you really?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my idea. I may just push out and call it Under the Covers and have men and women.
Yeah,
That was my original thought. We're joined today by two very special guests on the James Donald Forbes McCann Catamaran plan. Blake is Freeman.
How are you, mate?
And Eve Ellenbogen.
Hey.
But Eve's not really on the pod. She's just on the visual component, setting up the set. And I thought, wouldn't this be good? Sunglasses make me feel like a dickhead.
Do they? I think they look great. They're very Top Gun.
It feels like a power move to have you on and then wear sunglasses. Thank you for coming. I've known you for years. When did I meet you?
We would have met. I think we met in Adelaide. We must have met in Adelaide.
I think it was Melbourne. I think it was Station 69. I don't know what it's called.
Station 59.
Station 59.
Did we meet there?
Yeah, I did a show. I just come to Melbourne, and I wasn't able to do good gigs, and I went out there and I did that one. I mean, it's odd because that was a terrible gig. Like that night that I went, there was almost nobody there.
Yeah.
But so many good comedians started out in the Melbourne scene who are now like the Melbourne comedians. So I'm like, hey, they're very good. Started out there. There was a big wave.
It is crazy. Everyone started there and then realised that the guy who ran it was an interesting cat, and we all bailed. And we're like, why don't we just do other spots?
By recollection, he was principled. He always had like a cause. I would see him with a sign being like, this is free comedy, and that means something.
Yeah. Yeah, that was very much so his thing, but...
Now, do you think that hammering will be audible?
I 100% think so.
I didn't really think... How much hammering is there, would you say, Eve?
Quite a bit.
I feel
Okay.
like it seems like it's going to be all hammering.
No, it adds colour. I'm trying to take people with me on this journey. I don't know why I've done this. This is a terrible idea.
Told you.
I know, you're right. You got to listen to the producer sometimes. And then when did you meet? So I came to Melbourne and you had just started. You were too young to get into gigs.
Yeah.
You were 17, but you were getting in anyway.
I was getting in. I was allowed to do the spot, and then I had to leave immediately after. I would be on stage. There was one time I was on stage where I was doing the spot, and I said I was 17, and then they were like, you have to leave right now.
During the set?
Yeah, I did like 2 minutes of a spot, and then the guy behind the bar was like, you have to go. You can't be in here.
We are a nanny state. I think in America they'd let a small child come in.
You reckon?
They'd have no problem with it. Did you ever do fish face comedy?
Fish face. Oh, the one in the... because it was like a cafe, restaurant, video store,
They had
comedy
massage
club.
chairs out front.
Yes.
I got very bad food poisoning.
Yeah.
And it was run by a man who I believe was filming pornography.
He was. He would film it there. Because there was
I didn't know that.
They built a whole back section. They'd taken out some of like the DVDs.
I didn't know this.
And they built like a small room, probably this big.
Yeah.
And there was just a table in there. And he
For
took
sex on the table.
Yeah, yeah. And he took me in there and he was like, this is where I film porn. And I remember being 17 and so scared of this man.
Oh, look, I would have been in my early 20s and I was terrified.
Yeah, he sucked.
Okay, they gave out awards instead of money. There was office lighting. It was in West Footscray, which I never went back to. Eve, you never did this gig.
No.
It would have closed by that time. I love this.
I'm taking this. I'm moving it down.
I love that. I just love everything. Melbourne was different because it was big enough. In Adelaide was so small that the people who were doing it semi-professionally and the people who were schizophrenic would do the same room.
Yeah.
They're just like there was one scene and that was it. But Melbourne was slightly bigger and could stratify into pro, semi-pro, underclass, to use a term that you disparaged me for saying.
You did call me underclass last night.
I had thought you were underclass.
I am that, but I would never call myself
one of
that.
the only people from a disadvantaged background in Australian comedy, I believe. It's a posh boys club.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who have studied law who do stand up. Like
me included.
Did you really?
I dropped out.
Yeah, okay. But I think that's more common than people who have finished it.
That's true.
Yeah, okay.
And he definitely wrote his own final essay. He didn't get me to do that for him. Like an international student hiring an underpaid professor. Yes, so I know I could have... I'll put it this way. I could have finished a law degree. I could have done the final paper, but I did not.
See, I'd never been to I went to a technical college.
You're a TAFE boy.
Yeah.
What did you study at TAFE?
I studied creative industries and media. But we studied it.
Oh, man, that is such a rort.
It was a complete rot. I still don't know how to use like Photoshop or anything. But it was at a school where everyone else there were kids who had been expelled or had been in juvenile detention and no other school would take them. And then there was me and 6 other people who just wanted to learn Photoshop.
And they didn't teach you Photoshop?
No.
It's their only job is to let you know how Photoshop works.
Well, it was more just the harassment you would get from the kids who definitely were on their way to actual jail very soon.
Well, it's important to try and catch some of those kids before they get there and to have these programs. But I think you would have done well at RMIT. Although that means, you possibly avoided a lot of the indoctrination. I sat in on some of those RMIT classes, so I knew people who were going there. And I at Adelaide Uni, I went to media studies, like O-week things.
Yeah, okay.
It's nuts. None of it was technical abilities. All of it was like, what is the media? What is our role? Who are we? What is society? And it's like, this is...
Yeah, okay. See, I think I have a terrible idea of what media is, what media study is. Because they told us it was film.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, this is for film.
This is film school.
Yeah. Which it couldn't have been anything further from film. We never filmed anything. We didn't film a single thing. We took photos.
And then didn't edit them?
Didn't edit them. Oh, well, they were like, edit it on photo. And then, like, no guidance.
Just go do it on Photoshop?
Yeah. So I would just change my photos to black and white.
Nice.
And be like, that's what I thought. I think that's crazy. I'm surprised I passed.
How long did you last here?
I think I did, like, I think it was like
I choose
10
to believe
months
that's
all
not
up.
annoying for the listeners.
Yeah. I'm just not going to acknowledge
No,
it.
good. Let's ignore it. From here on out, sorry, we don't mention it.
We shouldn't mention
So a few months?
Yeah, like I think 10 months all up. Over 2 years.
All right, and what did you do? So that got you to what, 20?
No, that was for high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you a high school dropout?
Technically, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would fist bump you, but that would mean I too was a high school dropout. I did very well.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
At a Lux school. Can't help noticing you were wearing a pearl necklace last night.
I was, yes.
And you've swapped it for a chain.
I brought multiple necklaces on my 2-week trip.
How many necklaces do you currently have?
I have 4.
Is this to ingratiate you with the New York sophisticates, or were you a necklace wearer in Australia?
I was a very new necklace wearer on the way out of Australia.
Really?
And then I thought I'd really ramp it up in America.
Not chains, necklaces.
Yeah.
All
Wait,
right.
this is sort of a chain, isn't it?
That is a chain. It's totally a late 90s soap shoe wearing. Do you have soap shoes?
I don't have soap
slightly
shoes.
different generation. That would be like a part of the... Do you know what soap shoes were?
No.
Do you remember soap shoes?
I'm from the underclass.
Oh, the underclass. Let me tell you. Boy, did they take to the soap shoes.
They loved the soap shoes.
This was like, there was a bit of hard plastic in the middle of the bottom of the shoe that you would like soap up, and then you could like do skateboard grinds on the shoe. Like you'd be walking around, and then like on a curb, you'd go like... Shh.
Really?
Yeah. It was only a big thing in the very brief period of the late 90s.
Like kind of, I guess like... Is that where wheelies evolved from, or heelys?
I reckon they were probably parallel. This was probably a blimp aeroplane situation.
Yep, okay.
And the wheelies won out, which are now only worn by children belonging to parents who I don't like. Whenever I see a kid out there doing the little thing with their feet scooting around, I don't think you're a good parent. I don't think anyone should allow their children to have these shoes. There's a lot of things I would judge. We should... That's nice. That's nice.
It is coming together very well. Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep it all on the same eye line so that you can have it in the background.
No, it's good. It's worked. This is going to work.
What is that, a list of knots? Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, okay.
Good set designer.
You're an excellent set designer.
Yeah. I wanted to look like the person who put this up has absolutely no taste. And I think
You could also do a good job.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's also shitting on us complimenting it.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't understand. We're going for high production on this podcast. As best we can. Things are starting to come together.
better than when it was
Eve, if you want to talk, you come over and talk into the microphone, or else people get very upset.
It's better than when you were in the van.
Being in the van was an exciting chapter of the podcast.
Yeah, okay.
The acoustics in a van are sensational. No one... I organised this, so I shouldn't get angry about it.
Yeah, yeah. So can I ask you
Hit
really
me.
quickly, because I don't know anything about boats.
Yeah.
What is a catamaran? Is that a silly question?
2 hulls. So it's like a yacht would have 1 wooden bit down the bottom.
Yeah.
And a catamaran has 2, so it's a bit more stable for the family to live on.
Okay.
And a trimarine would have 3.
Like 2 levels or
No,
2
sideways.
separate
it's
areas?
It's like 2 canoes with a bit across the middle. Yeah.
I've seen it before. I'll show you.
Yeah. And you're striving for a catamaran.
Yes. So my original plan was to just start a podcast and then have it be extremely successful.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen in the first year or the second year. And then so I had like a series of plans. I had an art auction. I had all these ideas. The current plan is break America and become extremely successful in America and use that money to buy a boat. It's the best plan I've had. So the money is currently being used to just keep this America trip working. But before then I was like recycling it into... We did a big art auction. Albums, books of poems, just the best ideas I could come up with at the time.
So you've got a catamaran fund going.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Which is currently bare. Like more people are joining the Patreon and Eve's milking me dry. But talk into the mic.
If I could say how little money I'm making per
You
hour.
can't.
Like peasant.
Get over there. I can have anything. Out of the charity of my heart, it's like, the sunglasses are coming on.
Put them on.
Boss man. So we're getting there. I'm trying to break America as quick as I can.
Yeah.
And it's gone very well.
Yeah.
But
you're doing great.
We're hanging on.
Yeah, okay.
At the moment, it's just like try and be very professional. I'm being professional here in a way I never was at home.
Yeah, okay.
Now I think you had a good attitude in Australia. You were on the. You say you weren't breaking Australia. We had a conversation about how successful you felt in Australia. I felt you were there. You at the ABC was getting you to do little things here and there.
Yeah.
You were cool, very handsome. You would have had you would have had an ad for a gambling company in no time. Did you ever get offered the sports bet advertisements?
I never got offered a single. I auditioned. I think I looked too young because you were meant to look 28.
Nice.
And I think I kept looking too young.
Is that a rule in the industry?
Yeah. You have to look over like a certain age.
That's mental. I could definitely have done those ads.
You should have. You still good.
I never got a call. No, I find it disgusting that that like really good sketch comedians are giving their life's work to sports bet.
It is crazy. But it's also that thing where in Australia, it's kind of, you're like, well, it's good money.
Of course.
And
it's like, don't. But also, okay, it is. In America, I would accept that because there's no safety net. In Australia, we have enough dole money and programs and grants and things that you should be able to have some principles. You're not going to be sent under a bridge if it doesn't work out in Australia.
That's true.
Unless you want to.
But I guess if the goal is to live off the money you make creatively, then when you hit a point where you're like flat broke and someone's like, hey, do you want 20 grand for 2 days work?
Of course.
Yeah.
And thank God I was never given that opportunity. So I'm able to condemn these people for having taken it because I would have taken it.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
But I find they're all very like lefty, progressive people with high ideals.
Yeah.
Who then immediately, and then no one holds it against them that they prostitute themselves.
See, I had that for ages. I was like, I will never do a gambling ad. I'll never do like an alcohol ad.
Yep.
But then I remember being so broke. I was like, man, I'll do a beep. I'll do anything. Yeah. Like I will swim in oil and talk about how beautiful oil is. Like I'll do anything for cash.
BHP stands for beautiful hip problem solving. I don't know. Yeah, but it's the other. Like I was always a objectivist Ayn Rand conservative before I became a Catholic. I would have done all the ads.
Yeah.
Like, but then all these people who act like they wouldn't do the ads end up doing them, and no one even asks me. No one says. I wouldn't even be selling out for me. It would be entirely consistent with what I believe about the world. Eve, you got any thoughts?
About whether to do.
It's fine. Back you go. Eve's doing a tremendous job.
Where are the scissors?
They'll be inside. Do you need the keys? I'll give you the keys.
I think it's open.
I think the kids went out for a picnic. It probably is open.
Yeah, it is. But where is this?
It's a great... Maybe in the...
I would say kitchen.
The drawer.
Somewhere
drawer.
in the kitchen.
Sorry.
Chair so I can go into this
All right, please do.
Sorry.
She can get out.
Do you reckon it's also...
This is going to edit down fine.
Yeah, right. If you're also just loving like companies and wanting to pump it anyway,
Yeah.
if they're like, well, we already know we've got McCann on side anyway.
We don't need to...
Why don't we flip one of these artists?
Yeah.
Get them to
He's
bend the
already
knee to
fallen.
sports bet.
Yeah, you can't sell out if you have nothing to sell out for.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think they want to break people.
I think they're
And it
doing a
makes
good
them
job.
happy so they can sell their credibility. When did you know you had to come to this country?
I'd always wanted to.
Yeah.
I'd always wanted to. I mean, I never lived anywhere else either. So I
But
was like,
visiting is one thing.
yeah.
Like, it's so easy to go to the UK
Yeah.
from Australia. Like, they'll just take you in and you can gig there and you don't have to do a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
To come here, it's punishing.
Yeah. It's a nightmare. Getting the visa was a whole
It's
nightmare.
expensive. It's nasty. You have to claim you've never wanted to design a genocide. You've never been involved in sex trafficking.
Those questions, I mean, everyone talks about it, but they rule so much. Where it's like, have you ever had child soldiers? It's like, how the fuck?
Well, I had to fill them out for my kids.
Did you
Like,
really?
Yeah. So my then 0-year-old baby, I was like, I've never done it. I had to declare on his behalf that he'd never done it, and it just felt something about it felt wrong. I don't know what it was, but like you shouldn't be asking if my baby's done a genocide.
Yeah.
It felt disrespectful.
To accuse that of your child so young.
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
I understand, but I think it's probably just someone in. It felt like worse than what it was, because all I really had to do was click no.
Yeah.
And it was all true because he's a baby. He's never done anything. But like part of doing that, if spiritually, I can't put my finger on why spiritually it felt like a problem, but it did.
Yeah, I wonder. Do you reckon it's having to get a baby involved in so much admin already?
I feel like
It's like
babies
you're
should be
fresh
about-
out.
Yeah,
It's like,
but once you're in, there's way less admin. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of forms to fill out in this country by
there's
comparison.
none.
Yeah.
I haven't done any. I haven't had to show paperwork or anything anytime I've crossed a border.
If you do a W-9, which is like when you do a gig for someone, you fill out the form.
Yeah.
In Australia, the tax file declaration form is 7 pages long. You don't have to fill out all of it, but it's that like, it's
Yeah.
got all the boxes.
Yeah.
This one's like, give us your name, give us your social security number. Where are we paying you? That's it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
over.
crazy.
I love it. I feel there's so much about America that I am going to grapple with when I get home. Is that?
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I think it is that thing where this country runs parallel, but it's so different.
It's incredible. They really believe in freedom.
Yeah. But do you think the freedom that they have is any different to any other countries? Or like I would say Australia's freedom?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Driving.
In what sense?
You can. Do you drive here?
No.
All right. This is huge. It's gonna be huge.
It's-
Cut that right out. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
That's so lovely.
All right. Thank you.
I don't think he's on camera.
I love you.
Stop pretending.
Stop pretending, James. We know you have kids.
I love so much. No, but I think that it's great. I don't want a suicide hotline to be set up and for women to start killing themselves because they can't have me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm happily married. I'm a beautiful wife. Apparently these are on backwards. Someone wrote to me and told me.
Oh. Which part?
Can you take them off and just
I can.
Wait, so when you bought that shirt, you had to assemble it?
Yes, but Eve's done a tremendous job getting enough. Hello.
I've done a tremendous job.
He's done a tremendous job.
Wait, should I do my lottery ticket?
Yes, but quietly in the corner. Are you working towards a special?
I am working towards a show for next year.
Okay.
But I'm in the process of being like, how much of this will translate in Australia?
That's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, how much of what you're doing here now can you take back home?
Yeah.
Isn't that a nice flip? You start out going, how much of my Australia gear can I carry over there?
Yeah,
and now it's
yeah.
how much of this gear will Australia love?
And it's stressful to move somewhere new and already be thinking about back home.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I working towards back home? Which is good. It's good to have like
Are you
a
going to go
goal.
back and do the festival season?
Yeah, that's the
Smart.
plan.
That
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah, try and do that, enjoy it. But yeah, I guess I've just been trying to getting in at the smaller clubs.
Yes.
Trying to work my way in at some of the better ones.
Nice.
And then just cool independent shows. Like
That's the dream.
yeah,
And then
So-
we'll get you through it. You get the cellar at some point.
it would be sick.
That's the number one. That's
Yeah,
my dream.
yeah.
And then are you going to be a club act? Is that the goal? What is
I
the-
would love to. I would love to just do stand up, right?
Yes.
like-
go out to Minnesota.
I would love to go to
Go
Minnesota.
to the Mall of America. Is that in Minnesota, Eve?
Is that the biggest shopping center in?
The biggest shopping center in the world. I
See,
believe.
I don't know. I would love to go to it. I love shopping centers. I find them therapeutic.
This is heartbreaking about Austin. Is there are like 2 malls and they're not great.
Really?
Yeah, other parts of they do strip malls where there's a big car park
Yeah,
and you can walk
okay,
around.
yeah.
But this thing because it's so hot, I just want to go into a mall and like
Yeah.
be there for 3 hours with the kids, take them away.
I was going to say, do you do that with the kids as a
I
way
used
to
to
kind
always
of
do it.
distract them?
Yeah.
Yeah, get them through a day.
Very few museums in Austin. We
Yeah.
went to the kids museum, the Thinkery yesterday. That was good, but it's like okay, we've done that.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go back there all of a sudden. And there were no dinosaurs there. Did you win? No, I'm sorry.
Damn, that sucks. Well, how far is like Dallas and that? Can't you like trek up there for like
Yeah.
a day or
We
a
can,
weekend?
we should.
Yeah.
Houston is more doable. Houston's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, okay.
3 hours, 4 hours. San Antonio is really close. We went to a museum there.
Yeah, rad.
It is the drive is hideous. It's like
In what way?
it just doesn't. It's just like shops and 4-story highways the whole way.
Yeah.
Like I had thought, I'm driving through Texas, rolling hills,
Yeah.
sweeping plains. It's just
See, that's what we went through. Me and my partner drove through Louisiana one time, and it was just flat, but with houses everywhere.
yeah,
Like everywhere.
it's so filled in.
That's what's so crazy about coming here. Like in Australia, you can drive for hours and not see fucking anyone
It's
or
so
anything.
nice.
It's the best.
That country drive,
yeah.
is I miss it. You have to. I believe that is here, but you just have to go
Like way in.
way out.
Yeah,
way in.
okay.
But driving,
Yeah.
I drove from Notre Dame to Houston, and there was stuff the whole way. Even Austin. I did take the interstate. I'm sure we could have gone off the beaten path, but we got to go to Branson, and that was nice. But I've spoken about that a lot already. Yakov Smirnoff's Comedy Theatre. All right, come in, grab a seat. You two share.
I'm really bummed. I have been thinking about lottery tickets a lot recently. And you know when you get so certain of something that you're like, all I have to do is buy it? And that's taking the first step that they talk about in all the self-help books. It's like, take the first step towards the universe and the universe will provide.
It's nuts.
And I bought a ticket and I thought at least I'd win back the money from the ticket. I didn't get anything. Nothing. Not $1. It's a Jew's
you know the
nightmare.
answer. You got to buy more lottery tickets.
Okay.
You got to keep going.
Well, you know what? I might need a raise.
Not for your lottery ticket addiction.
And to be fair, by the way, the reason I bought the lottery ticket was because I stopped in at the gas station because you were like, "Can you get me some Zyn?" You called me from the toilet.
Couldn't even get me Zin.
You called me this morning from the toilet. There's a Zyn
I
shortage.
answered the call from the toilet.
You called me and then I returned your call while you were taking a big one. And then I
I didn't say that. You could just hear it was an echoey room. I want
Well,
people
I
to know.
don't think that you're. I mean,
I didn't
you-
deny it. I cannot tell a lie.
Yeah.
Gee, that looks great.
Looks good, right? I mean, there's more to be done.
Yeah.
A lot
We're going to have fish hanging from there.
Yeah, fish, seashells. I'm about to add.
Now, I want to say this because we're increasingly have a normative podcast set up here. Obviously, it would be good if you both had microphones. We need to have things that can clip into reels.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just hit big news stories. And then it'll grow. Hold on. Did you see Nigel Farage was hit with a milkshake? Yeah. What kind of fucking scumbag would do that to a great man?
I don't know who Nigel Farage is.
He's the guy who suggested Brexit and then it was successful. And then he said, "Oh, wow, I never thought it would work." And so now he's running for prime minister, right?
MP, yeah, he'll be
MP,
around.
Yeah, he's trying to be the prime minister of the UK. But he's hated.
Yeah, okay.
You know what Brexit was?
Yeah, I know what Brexit was. I'm pretty sure. Fuck you.
Eve's from old money.
Yeah.
I'm not from old money.
Babylonian coins. Still. Life. This is a hard country. This is a challenging country.
America.
Yeah.
To break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's doable with a good attitude.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Catcher in the Rye?
I've never read Catcher in the Rye.
Okay. It's a Catcher in the Rye. This is going to be a great reel. Catcher in the Rye. You know, it was written by a man called J.D. Salinger, who later became a recluse. But he, for a time, he was in like the nastiest part of World War II. He was really involved in heavy fighting. And then he comes back and he writes not a war book, but a book about a boy who's gone through some hard times, who just stumbles around New York City for 2 days and seemingly gets pneumonia. That's the whole book. And he like hangs out with a prostitute and he doesn't have sex with her and he sees some nuns and then his sister's on a carousel and it rains. That's the end of the book. That's all that happens. But really what it is about is cynicism. It's a study about like... It's all right. It's about like... It was banned is the other thing. So it was routinely on like... And the way that like trans books are banned from libraries. Like they didn't actually... The government didn't censor it, but people wouldn't have it in their school libraries because they thought it was a bad influence on children. And I had read it years ago, and I've reread it now, and I always thought, like, why? Like, this seems like a relatively harmless book about a boy who's just hanging out and doing stuff. I think it's because it can be read as a glorification of cynicism, and that's the one thing that can destroy you in America, is a bad attitude. Like, if you have a good attitude here, incredible things can happen. And a lot of luck, and, like, all these other things. But, like, if you're a waitress, and you smile, and you're optimistic, you can pull home thousands, at least $1,000 a week. If you're like... I don't like being a waitress. This sucks. Everything's crummy. Everyone's a fake. Financially, you're ruined.
Yeah, okay.
Like, having a bad attitude will kill you in this country. Nirvana. Again, why did Nirvana seem edgy and strange? Life is dumb. Everything's hard. You can't have that attitude here. You have to have that attitude in Australia.
Yeah.
And in the UK, where cynicism is like a national pastime.
Yeah.
But here... it has real world manifestations on your bank account. That's how I feel.
Do you reckon that's because everyone is maybe going through it? Like everyone's maybe having like a rough go.
Yeah.
So when people are having a rough go, but they're in a good mood about it, everyone's like, fuck yeah. Like we love that.
I'm
like,
getting behind. Hey, he's giving it his best.
Yeah.
And they don't. Here's the other thing. They don't care if you fail in America.
Yeah.
I find. You tell me if I'm wrong. You're the American. But it seems like if you try really hard and you've got a good attitude, that's okay, because like if people have declared bankruptcy, you're like, yeah, but then he came back from bankruptcy is a thing that people would say here, not like he was a bankrupt.
Can I chime in about this?
Yeah.
Are women allowed to speak?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was working on a joke about this that I abandoned, but yeah, I think this is why in the U.S. you have so many sober comics, because like in Australia, if you say like. You get on stage and you're like, I haven't had a drink in, 5 years. Here, they'll cheer for you.
Yeah.
In Australia, they're like, you're a pussy.
Amos has a great joke.
Does he?
Yeah. He goes, in America, if you say, I quit drinking, they give you a round of applause. In Australia, if you say, I quit drinking, people go, oh, he killed someone with his car.
Yeah. But I think it's because here people are excited when you're trying to make your life better.
Yeah.
And I think it is because we feel like there's no net. So it's like, if you don't work, you will die. If you let go, like you'll just be poor. There's no health care. There's no housing, nothing like that. So it's like, don't fucking bring us down with your negativity, because you could.
We're all in the struggle.
Yeah. But but bring us up. Wow. That's so inspiring. Like you didn't drink for 5 after you killed somebody. That's
so incredible that you didn't turn to drink.
Yeah.
When I am in Australia, when I feel like manic about Australia, and I go, I love this country. I love Australia. People will go like, why? You know what I mean? Like Adelaide. Like I'm really pumped on Adelaide.
Yeah.
And people in Adelaide will be like, there's nothing to do. Football teams are collapsing once again. Like it's really down. In America, it's like, I love this country. People go, yeah. I can't imagine saying I love Australia and getting a spontaneous round of applause.
I don't think you ever could.
I'm going to try it when I go back.
Yeah, nice.
I love Australia. People go, where's he going with this?
If you say one word against Australia
Right.
when you're not Australian, as I did once or twice, people they're like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Whereas here,
Right.
they import people into America to say nasty shit about America.
Yeah.
John Oliver, what do you think? Your politicians are so corrupt. It's unbelievable. Or my least favorite is Trevor Noah. Who was like, I can't believe how absolutely hateful. The rice problem in America is so bad. Really, Trevor? What country are you from? How's the race question going on over there? Do you know what I mean? And they lap it up. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, Trevor, please tell us what's wrong with us. We love to tune in.
Blake is just turned red because he sees his future collapsing.
Obviously, Trevor Noah is a sensational comedian, worthy
Here's
of our
the question.
respect.
Is it racist to do someone's accent when they're not white, but the accent is white?
Well, he's
'Cause his-
he would say coloured. I'm going to turn this off, and that's a classification there. That's
Yes,
not a
in
negative
South
thing.
Africa, yeah.
And I would just say that I'm.
But you've been
I'm-
waiting to say it your whole life.
It's half
He's
white.
like, in South Africa, that's actually allowed. It says, I know what I'm talking. It's an educated word.
It's an educated word to say. It's coloured.
Yeah.
And I only say it in that context. And when I'm doing his accent,
Yeah.
'cause he's half white, half black.
Yes.
I'm only doing the white half.
Right.
This will cut well so far. You wait and you see how professional this looks.
I'm very interested.
I wish I could just do a calm, like some people do podcasts and they're just like they keep it on the rails the whole time and it's like a free flowing.
But that's not really your vibe, though,
Can't do
right?
it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
But that's fine.
We'll get out.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense if you were wearing a normal button-up shirt and not a captain's hat, just asking genuine questions.
Well, let's give it a go. You got any great anecdotes?
I got fuck all.
If you have any beautiful anecdotes, now's the time to tell them.
Have I got any anecdotes? I don't know.
That's what every talk show is really about. You got anything really funny you can say?
I don't know if this is funny, but I told my partner this the other day because I remembered it when I was lying in bed the other night.
Tell me.
It just came into my mind. So this happened when I was in primary school, which is like elementary school.
Yes.
And I remember I spat on the ground, and a teacher saw me spit and was like, "You need to come to my office after lunch." And then I went into her office, and she was like, "Do you think it's okay to spit on the ground?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I don't, yeah."
But outside?
Yeah, outside.
Yeah.
It was on an oval, on a grass oval. And she was like, "Yeah, but if you spit on the ground and someone has a cut on their knee and they kneel into that cut and they get your saliva in their cut, now they've got AIDS." Swear to God. And then she was like, "And then if that student goes and maybe kisses another student and now that student has AIDS." And she just ran through this whole thing, and she to the end of it, she was like, "And now 20 students have AIDS, and you've given 20 students AIDS."
We should mention for the listeners, you don't have AIDS.
I don't have AIDS.
Yeah. Which would be a necessary precondition of giving someone the AIDS.
This, I would have been maybe 8 or 9, maybe 8 or 9.
What year was that?
I would have been year 2.
What year?
Oh, like 2003.
Right.
Yeah.
First of all, that's so late for somebody to think that you could get AIDS from spit. Like that's
Man,
just.
Eve.
But
Australia, I'm telling you, the Australian public, like the Australian primary education system in the 90s through the early 2000s was unbelievably geared towards AIDS awareness campaigns.
So the same thing happened to me, but it was not as innocent. So we were doing like blood sisters. So this is a little bit more. So it was like you cut your hand and then you rub your hands together at my school. But it was like 1994, which, like, to be fair, suburbs of New York City, a little bit more understandable that there would be an AIDS scare. And then they like had to be like, AIDS, and we were kids, and so then we were like, oh, AIDS. And also Forrest Gump came out around then, and Jenny does have AIDS, and my dad explained it to me, and then I had a dream about him trying to give me AIDS with a heroin needle. But when I lived in Australia, I felt really paranoid because had sex without a condom. I know you're against sex outside
I'm
of
in
marriage.
support of sex without a condom. I think it's
Right,
great
yeah,
you didn't
yeah,
have a condom.
Yeah, thanks, James.
You shouldn't have had the sex, but
Thanks.
obviously closer to being good. Go on.
But this is how far Australia has shifted. I went to get like my test and whatever, and I was like, I shouldn't have, blah, blah, blah. And then I was really paranoid, and I was like, there's no AIDS. Like, I was like, it's like, and I just wanted her to go, I'm sure you're fine, but use a condom. And she goes, honestly, and this is at the sexual health clinic, she's like, honestly, there's so little AIDS in Australia. You're more likely to get hit by a bus than you are to get AIDS without it. So it doesn't really matter if I use a condom. I'm like, this is crazy.
That's definitely not her job to say that.
No.
Cannot tell you to not use a condom.
Yeah. So anyway,
Comparably few heterosexual women getting AIDS as well.
it's true, but it's such an irresponsible thing to say. And
Well, there's this push to like, don't worry about AIDS. Has been a big push of the last few years. Like, if you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
That's nice. You can live with it. It's fine.
nice.
Don't
It's
stigmatize
nice.
it. If you want to give it to someone on purpose, it's not a crime. Whatever.
That's totally what the discourse is. It's so funny. You
It
have
is.
such a memory for dialogue.
That's literally the Surgeon General of California saying, go out and give someone AIDS today.
I actually, you know what? You're right. I did hear that. I read it, I think. Right? Have you heard that?
What? No.
No, of course, because it didn't fucking happen.
I'm on the computer. Get AIDS. AIDS is good. Hey, just because something's not coming up right now doesn't mean... Yeah, look, I'll hear something once and then I'll cite it like it's true. That's a just ongoing problem that I have.
I remember someone told me in high school that scientists found fish on the moon, and it was only until I was 22 where I said that to Peter Jones, who's a comedian we know, that like, oh yeah, it's like how there's fish on the moon, and he was like, what the fuck are you talking
There's no
about?
fish.
Yeah, there's no fish at all.
I mean, we don't know because we've never been. That's the greatest naivete of all, is to think that we can know what's on the moon. Hasn't Eve done a tremendous job?
It's not done.
It's not done?
No.
It's coming together really nicely.
The fish,
What time is your therapy appointment?
3.
What will you be discussing?
You.
Into the microphone.
I'll be talking about you. I'll be talking about why I allow people to exploit me
Yeah.
financially. No, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about...
At your therapy session.
Say again?
I
At my
was
therapy
just-
session.
I was just I was started doing
I'm
a
gonna-
good edit point. What will you be doing at your therapy session, Eve?
Well, I'm going to have Zoom therapy in this room. I mean, they'll keep this background.
Nice.
Because every week I've been moving. I moved a couple times recently. And so she's always like, where are we now? And today, what if I just stayed in front of this and I don't say a word about it and just see what she says? But I'll probably talk about how I still struggle to go to sleep on time. Because when I was a kid, no one gave me a bedtime. And I'm still working that out. And then, and that means that I stay sick longer. It means that I'm not as funny on stage because I'm tired all the time. Okay, so that's one thing. And then what else? What else?
I say that
what should I talk about?
Well, here's something that I've been thinking about this week that I should communicate.
Yeah.
As the podcast gets bigger and more regulated and more successful, I can see that we may enter into a danger zone where I go from, like, guy you're helping and it's fun, but ramshackle to seriously bad employer. Like, if the money gets to a point where this is a proper job,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be a bad boss. The way I'm acting now, and things are a mess.
You're finally
What time
gonna,
we're starting, it
you're
doesn't
gonna hit
matter.
me. I knew it. I knew that the
Eve
day was
always
coming.
wants to be hit. Eve
I
is
just want you to show who you really are. But yes, okay. All
Eve
right.
is a hungry sub. Literally, yesterday, twice. I think, oh, you're going to hit me? You're going to hit me? You're going to hit me?
I said it.
Sometimes it's going to happen. Not from me.
Yeah.
But one day you're going to find a man who's...
So you're saying that you're going to be a bad boss. You think you're like a good
I'm
boss
concerned
now?
about it. It's like, give that... Blake's got something to say.
In what way? Like financially not paying or just demanding?
Man, having money on time.
Yeah.
I owe money to people at the moment, and money's about to come in, but it's like I have to get accommodation in Australia is the first thing. It's like, when will I actually have the money to pay people back?
Yep.
In terms of a salary, when will I be able to do that? In terms of like regular hours. Eve's on the clock. She's been here for 12 hours trying to get this podcast right. And, that's not fair to Eve. And,
Yeah, okay.
And I want you to know I'm thinking about it. And as the podcast becomes more successful, I'm going to attempt to be professional in relation to how successful the podcast is becoming?
Well, that's good because what you don't know about me is that I'm like a little bitch, but not like a little bitch like I'm your bitch. I'm like well, you'll pay me on time. I know you will because I'll just look you in the eye and be like, James, I'm
You're very good at
Jewish.
this, yeah.
I'm Jewish. I want to watch you. Send me the money right now.
You're very good at saying you're Jewish.
Yeah. But also it's like, I'm never going to not get paid. Like that's something I'm good at, but is getting paid. But yeah, I'll push back. I'll tell you.
I appreciate that because I don't push back well in a business environment.
Yeah, I
don't
know,
stand
but
up
I
for
coached
myself.
you about pushing back on something business-wise. Remember?
Yes, and I didn't do it.
Right, but was it? But was it good advice?
Of course.
Yeah.
You have great business advice.
Yeah. I mean,
Americans
I don't use
tend
it.
to.
Yeah.
But I struggle.
Right.
But I once
Your tactic is if I just ignore it, it'll work out. Which is at
Yeah.
some point it stops
if you
working.
never see them coming, you never have to hide.
Yeah.
That's a line from a gay song.
Is that Andrew and Drag?
No, that is Perfume Genius's Don't beg, I'm gonna break free, everybody's your party. That's what he sounds like.
Can you sing Andrew and Drag, which
No.
is your son's?
My
I won't
son's
say which
favourite
son,
song.
but why not? It's such a good song.
It's a song about watching a man. It's about a straight man who goes to a drag show that his buddy's doing as a joke. Yeah, okay. And then he finds it really hot.
Yeah.
And he's like, Andrew will never do it again. But Andrew and Drag
Yeah.
gave me such a throbbing erection.
It
And
doesn't say that in the song, but that's
my
James added.
dog began to wag.
Is that what he
wag like
says?
a little puppy dog for Andrew and Drag.
And your son's
my
like,
tail began to wag.
oh yeah, he does say that.
Wag like a little puppy dog. That's how he,
Andrew
it's
and
Magnetic
Drag.
Field. It's a great song. I just wish it wasn't
Magnetic-
my son's favorite song.
Magnetic Field's so good. But yeah, I love it. And I just drive around my little Prius going, Andrew and Drag.
Andrew and Drag.
Yeah.
He's deaf in one ear or something. He's got some. He's like the guy who sings it, so he's got all sorts of weird health conditions.
Well, he has another song called Epitaph for My Heart. And every time anybody ever breaks up with me, which is like every time I go on a first date, that's the same day. And it's like, gosh, I won't sing the beginning, but he goes, let this be an epitaph for my heart. Cupid put too much poison in the dart. Like, and then it just gets like so dark.
We're gonna get you on optimistic white lady songs.
Yeah.
Get in that dating game. Get it working out. Taylor Swift is your
No,
diet.
I'm not
from
doing
here on
Taylor
out.
Swift.
Why not?
Camille
She's a happily
Paglia called
married.
her a Nazi Barbie.
yeah.
I was Googling this last night.
Don't you worry about it. If Camille Paglia has had a public opinion on somebody. I
what
know
I
what it
hate
is.
the most is that I'm becoming a Camille Paglia fan because of you.
We're gonna get her on the pod. We got to get her on the pod.
Andrew and
We're
Drag.
going to get her on the pod. Now, hold on. Blake has to tell very quickly 2 more anecdotes so that we can cut it to reels. Come on. Blake, any anecdotes?
Let me think of another anecdote. What other anecdotes have I told you any stories? Oh, have I told you about... I told you that I'm engaged.
Yeah.
But did I tell you the story of the proposal?
No.
I don't know if it's funny, but it's real. So I decided that I wanted to propose to my partner, but because she was coming over a month and a half before I was to America, so I had a whole month and a half to think about it. And Liz had my partner had always said that she never wanted a ring. And so I was like, all right, I'm not getting her a ring. She doesn't want a ring, doesn't like the feel of it, doesn't want one.
Yeah.
And then the day before I was coming over, and I knew I was going to propose, I panicked and was like, I need to get her a ring. But if I buy one, she'll be mad. So I was like, asked my friend, like, hey, do you have any rings that I could maybe use to propose? And he gave me 3 of the ugliest rings ever. And so then cut to we're at a restaurant. It's on her birthday, which I didn't know was tacky, but apparently is.
I think that's nice.
Someone told me it was super tacky. Like,
wait,
you
the
shouldn't do
restaurant
it.
was tacky or doing it at a
No,
restaurant
doing it
was
on the
tacky?
birthday. Like,
I
Yeah.
waited until my now wife's birthday because I didn't want to propose until she was 21.
oh, okay. Is that real? That's very
I was
funny.
young too.
Yeah, okay.
I was like early 30s.
I was 45.
No, please go on.
So we get to the restaurant and I was so... Were you nervous when you proposed?
Terrified.
I was terrified.
Thought I was gonna vomit.
It was... So I was shaking. I was sweating. Like, I was petrified. And I had a whole... I'd written out on a piece of paper what I wanted to say. which was
That's hilarious.
But I didn't bring it with me to the
God.
restaurant.
Thank God.
But it was
that is a bad
Yeah.
a Q&A audience member getting ready. I have always thought so highly of you.
Yeah. But what I ended up saying was we were sitting down and we'd just gotten like a wine or whatever. And I said, like it was kind of silent for a second. And I was like, hey, dude, how do you feel about like getting married and shit? That is word for word what I said. And Liz was like, my part, whatever, was like,
you can say it. Do you say her name? Do you want me to edit it out?
No, it's fine.
All right, no, that's fine. We know who Liz is now.
She was like, are you being for real? And I was like, I'm being 100% serious. And then I pulled out 3 shitty rings to give to her. And she like could not deal with it. She was like, thought I was doing a bit, thought I was like pranking her though. It took me like 30 minutes to convince her that I was actually proposing.
Did she pick the least ugly ring?
She said they're all disgusting and didn't touch it.
Take any of them?
She still doesn't have an engagement ring.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I do not like wearing rings, and every day But that's sort of what marriage is. Marriage is wearing a ring that you don't want to wear. No, it's like, it's good, and you should do it. It's cool, you get the ring, but it's like, it's uncomfortable, you know.
Does it not fit properly? Shouldn't it fit properly?
I mean, yeah, it does, I guess. We were so poor, we just went to the secondhand ring shop.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, a couple died. And check this out. And it like basically fit both of our hands properly.
What a steal.
Yeah. It was like, this is a $150 ring.
That's a good price.
Yeah, we did all right. It says superb on the inside. And we don't know why.
That's insane that you're wearing a ring with someone else's inside joke.
It's got
as your
superb.
I one time got my friend's ring stuck on my finger when I was in middle school, and we had to get them sawed off. It was a set of 3.
The ring sawed off?
Yeah, there's a special ring saw that's non-electric. It's a handheld saw, and I was 12, I think. Did you try using something? Oh my God! I went to the nurse. I used cold water. They put butter on my hand. They took me to the doctor. Now I know that there's other tricks that you can use. Like you wrap string around your finger.
Yeah.
And then you try to move the ring
Shimmy
over over the string. But this was a set of 3 rings.
You can also purge.
Purge like vomit?
Yeah, just sit in a sweat room and not have any liquids for several days.
That's such a
until
good
your hand
idea.
withers.
I was surprised I didn't try that when I
You
was
put it in
12.
the hand shrinking chamber.
Yeah. You should be bulimic. You should basically stop
I'm
eating.
just saying I'm going to use the vomit as a lubricant. Hey, it's so great to be here on the James Donald Force Weekend Catamaran plan. This is going to edit down beautifully into a fantastic half an hour episode. We should give you the room.
Yeah, I gotta cry.
You got to do therapy.
Stop. I believe that fate has brought us here, and we should be together, babe. But we're not. I play it off, but I'm dreaming of you, and I keep my cool, but I'm feeling. I try to say goodbye. Try to walk away and I stumble. No, I try to hide it. It's clear. My way quivers when you are not near. Get by and I choke. Try to walk away and I stumble. No, I try to hide it. It's clear. My way quivers when you are not near. I may appear to be free, but I'm just a prisoner of your love, and I may seem alright and smile when you leave, but my smiles are just a front. I play it off, but I'm dreaming of you, and I keep my cool, but I'm feeling. I try to say goodbye and I joke. Try to walk away and I stumble. just as such. With all my might I try, but this I can't deny. I play it off, but I